Oh, wow. Actually, I was thinking of success this way when
So,
success is like, whoop, whoop, whoop.
hey everyone, this is EDRIAN Pangilinan, and welcome to another episode of Soul Supremacy, where we talk about all things unapologetic, all things passion, and in pursuit of. And if this is your first time, welcome. And if you've tuned in the past episodes, thank you so much for coming back. And for today, we have another beautiful guest, like literally beautiful, and her name is Precious Sipin, based in New York. Wait, where are you in New York?
Queens, New York.
Okay, it's over. Mic drop. Game over. Queens, New York. And actually, before I ask her how she's doing, I just want to read you all her Instagram bio because this is how we run this show. So our friend Kapatid over here, Precious Sipin, is an actor, a creator, and she says a vibe called. Sorry, how do you Phresh, right?
Yeah, fresh.
Phresh with a PH. Phresh with a PH. Sorry, y'all. That's why I was like, how do I pronounce this? Okay. She also says that she is the child of the sun. She is Filipina and an American believer of the sun. And she has a quote that says, "You can have the world. I've got the God of the universe inside of me." And you can check all of this out at www.precioussipin.com.
Yes.
How are you?
Period. I am great. It is so finally great to just chat with you.
To finally meet you in the flesh, virtually. Flesh.
Although I feel like I've known you, I was like,
I know.
his vibe is like everything. Like it matches my vibe. Like we're just on the same frequency all the time. So even though you're in San Diego, I'm in New York. I can feel it.
Totally two different coasts, but I will have to say too, I think that's what's awesome about being Filipinos is I think we just have that like if you see another Filipino, for the most part it's like, hey, like you feel like you've known them for a minute, and then actually haven't even you don't know each other's names.
Yeah.
Nice.
I actually used to live in the Bay when I was younger. Before I moved to New York, I lived in Concord, California, the Bay Area, Walnut Creek, that area. And then I would go back and forth from there to here in Queens. And so I miss California. So I'm like, the sun. I want to go hiking again. I don't know where to hike here in New York.
You can hike. You can hike on the stair steps of the many
the
buildings.
Subway station.
Right there you go. As you're running, the L train.
Exactly.
Nice. So actually, before we get started, I also just want to give a brief context of how I met this beautiful being. Both of us, I believe it's our first times, right? For the 72 hour for Asian American Film Lab.
Yes.
And we were also both placers. I don't know what to say.
Award winners. Boo.
Yes. Award winning. So her and her husband. What's her husband's name again?
Andy,
yes. Yeah, Andy. Her and her husband won Best Director for their short film, Infectious. Because so I guess a little bit more of a context on that is because last year, which was 2020, and we all know what 2020 was like. So I'm actually glad that they still ended up doing the festival, but of course it was virtual. It was the isolation edition, right?
Yeah. It was the isolation edition. We didn't know if we were going to do it. I think we signed up I know we cut the early bird. I think that was March.
You saved so much money.
No, you gotta be. We'll talk about that producing life. You gotta be ahead.
Questions. Yes,
ahead of the game. But I think we signed up in March, and we're like, okay, this was before the pandemic too, before everyone went in lockdown. I think
this was in March. Yes,
yeah, this was in March, and so we're like, okay, it's gonna be in June. It's gonna be fun.
We're gonna operate as usual.
Usual. Oh yeah, we'll travel throughout the tri-state to get these shots. Great. Yeah, we have so many places in Jersey, in New York that are beautiful, that looks great on film. I think maybe the next month comes and we're like, okay, it's still gonna happen. We're not gonna be in lockdown for a while.
Right? Isn't that crazy? I mean, But continue, sorry.
Well, and then May comes by, and then that's when we were like, okay, let's have contingency plans. Like, what if, like, what do we do if we're like, the space is very limited? Locations, I mean, are very limited. Actors,
people.
Like, we wanted to like bring in as many people, you know, to work on this project. And then,
sorry, I'm only laughing is because I know how that turned out.
Yeah, and then June rolls by, and then all the protests started happening. Yeah, and then New York City not only was locked down because of COVID, but also we had a curfew. So no one could be out. I don't remember what the curfew time was, 6 or 8, something like that.
7 to 8?
What happened?
Just 7 to 8? I don't know. Because in California, in California it was 10.
Oh my gosh, it was 10?
Yeah. Was yours earlier? Yours was earlier, huh?
Yours was earlier. I'm pretty sure it was earlier. I'm pretty sure it was like 6 or 8. Yeah.
6?
I remember. Yeah. Okay, funny story. Very. I might drip. You know, I might get off topic, but
that's okay.
I remember. I think the first like week of curfew, we were going grocery shopping, and it was like 5:55, and we were still out.
And you were like feeling nervous to like.
I was like, because people were actually getting like arrested and stuff. And it's not fair because, like, what are we, you know, it's not fair. And that's a whole other story because, you know, it's primarily communities of color. So we were going to the grocery store. We were like, and there was like 20 people in front of us. And we're like, should we go? Should we?
It was like I'm sure it was hella backed up because there was like 20 people lined up and like few people working.
Yeah.
And it still is like that, actually.
Yeah. It's because it's COVID. It's like everyone's like, you know, the people are still social distancing and all of that, which is good. But like that, it was that extra added pressure of like, we just spent like 30 minutes grocery shopping. Did we just leave and just go? So we took the chance. And just like this, it like, but then like last minute, I dropped a huge thing of hot sauce.
You would be that person that drops a hot sauce.
I love my hot sauce.
So you went and grabbed it?
Well, so then it dropped and we're like, no, it was so dramatic. But then the guy was nice and he's just like, it's okay, here you go. Gave us like an extra one. And then we just jetted. We like, okay, we got to get back home. And we're like, as soon as we were like parked, okay, we're like, okay, we made it. Oh my gosh. But then, just that pressure.
Then at what point, we're probably going to be jumping back and forth in this, but and then at what point did you guys realize that you guys were actually wanted to still compete or create?
Well, we have a wonderful DP who is an amazing artist. I don't know if he considers himself an artist, but I call him an artist.
Name drop. What's that person's name?
Name drop. Andrew CU. At Andrew CU, like SIU, if you want to check him out. He edits. He was the DP, and he's also a really great actor and writer. But so because we had people who can do multiple things, we're like, okay, what are people's strengths? Like, what do people actually want to do that we can do it as a trio, as opposed to like what we want. I think we wanted it to be like a fairly big cast. I mean, I please, if it were up to me, I'd be like, oh, I want to cast my friend. I want to cast my friend. I want to cast my friend. you know? But I just didn't think it was going to be just the three of us. I honestly didn't think it was going to be 3 of us.
It was a team of 3?
Team of 3.
I actually thought it was a team of 2. I thought it was just you 2.
I could see that too.
More power.
I could see that. Oh, that's a whole other thing too. That's so funny when you said, "Oh yeah, with her husband." I'm like, "Oh my god, he is my husband."
Yeah,
he is. No, I always see him. I call him my favorite collaborator. Like that's how we met.
Gorgeous.
That's how that. You know.
Sana all my forever with your favorite collaborator.
No, we had to get there. Don't get me wrong. We had to get there. We had to learn how to like. Just like with anything though, just like with any collaborator that I have, you know, how do you work? You know, what are your goals for when we work together? That's not something that I carry as a producer, because if you're going to be with me in any project, yes, I'm going to nurture all your gifts, but I'm going to challenge it too, period. Because you're gonna be with me. Like we have to elevate together. We have to make this the best project like that we're proud of. So
yes. And I'm also sure, like when you guys officially got together, like how then do we continue that and also turn it off, once work is done, right?
Little hat.
Taking off. We're not working anymore.
I'm gonna put my producer hat on, and then I'm gonna put, okay, this is Precious.
Yes.
Your partner.
Yes, right? Yeah.
So one of our goals is to us to have a production company eventually. And so, I think like, so we've been together 9 years. We were friends first. Like I believe in that fully. I believe in that.
I don't have that much friends. I'm just kidding.
So we were together for 9 years, and then played that little like game, but I've always seen him first as my collaborator. That's the thing, I've always seen him as just a fellow artist that let's build together, all of that. And so all of these years we've had a lot of practice of like, this is when we do this is when we do that, and we'll find our flow eventually. But just like with any other person that I work with, we have a calendar. I don't care if I live with you. We have a calendar of like, okay, at 7 p.m., this is when we'll have our meeting. Let's talk about this. And, we don't hold back either, just because like, hey, we're dating. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, we're dating. We're married. We're married. Hey, you could do both. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes. No. Yes. Yeah.
It feels like it. It feels like we're still like dating. That little.
How long have you guys been married?
4 years. 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful that you just said that, because I mean, not that I would ever. I'm not even in a relationship, let alone get in marriage. But because I feel like a lot of times people talk about the honeymoon stage, and from what I've heard, a lot of times it lasts like a year or two.
Oh, you see, and
6
I think
months?
that's when, right? Oh. Please, in LA and New York, come on. Yeah. But I honestly think that's where it helps that, one, you were friends first, and then two, you started working with each other, because, and
there
I know
other
like,
ways to like nurture it.
Exactly. And like you learn so much more about the person with every day, but also every project, everything that you work on, Yeah. And I had this hard rule before I met Andy that I won't date a fellow actor.
Oh, God.
I had such a hard rule. Like it was a hard rule. But then obviously like things change.
You spent so much time with someone on set.
Exactly. And so it was just one of those things where it's like, actually this works because one, you understand my schedule. Two, you respect that, I need to be independent as well. And you see me as an artist, you respect that. Yeah. Yes. And you also, I feel like I've become a better communicator too, just because of our roles together. Wow. Because I'm just like, no, this is the time that we are going to be talking about this project. I'm not talking about anything else. And then switch to 2 hours later, even if we're like arguing about like, no, I think it should be this way. The storyboard says this, that kind of thing. 2 hours later, we know how to take it off now. Okay. It wasn't anything personal. We'll go on. So
yeah, y'all. So this is why they won again. I'm going to repeat this again. What you just shared is very much the reason why they won Best Director at Asian American Film Labs. I said Labs 2020 shootout.
Yes. Oh, that was such a great experience. It was such a great experience. Yeah, and I love the mentorships that we got. I love the people that we met. I met you through it.
Yeah.
And all these
That's
people
crazy.
that I just want to like.
I met Cassandra actually, like also local. She was one of the participants, and she lives here in SD and LA, and we've like become like friends, like in person.
That's like you actually met in person?
Yes. I met her first at the same event. I noticed her name, and I kept seeing her name after. I was like, I've seen your film at the shootout last year.
We unfortunately could not do it this year. We wanted to, but we were wrapping up expectations. So
yes, which I'll be excited for you to talk about later.
Yes,
expectations. Oh gosh. In the back of my mind, I was like, okay, I can segue this. And I was like, no, I can't segue this. It's okay. I'll just do a cut. Okay. Okay. So, actually, I will not even edit that because people know my show. I'm so awkward at my segues. I'm not not the most seamless, organic person when it comes to things. But first of all, this is very much the reason why we met. And also, this is why they won Best Director, in which I'm excited for Precious to share her experiences not only as an actress, as a director, but also as a producer. Because while I feel like I've had many intersectionalities of my guests coming in which they've all been in the entertainment industry, a lot of my guests have been actors, but I feel like this is actually going to be the first time where I will get to have someone and be able to pick out their brain about what it actually takes to produce a film. Because the set that I worked at yesterday, in which I told you, which was for the San Diego 48-hour film festival. So we had 1 day less than the 72-hour shootout. Ooh. And this was in person. This was my first one in person, and we had a big team. And I feel like while it was beautiful in all of its facets, I feel like a lot of roles were blurred because I feel like a lot of times certain people didn't understand what the role actually is and meant. Especially, I feel like producing. So that's why I'm so excited for you to come and share your experiences. But before we get started, I wanted to get started with icebreaker questions. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Okay,
you two, I said let's get into it.
I might write some of these down because the icebreakers you gave for other people, I'm like,
yeah, thank you. Take notes. Well, I mean, no, seriously, because in terms of segues, I'm like, I use the same things over and over again. Let's get started. Let's get into it. Okay, so on a real note though, so my first question for you is, what are 3 things about you that people would not normally know about you when they meet you for the first time?
Oh, okay. 3 things that people may not know about me. Let's see. 1, I'm Filipino. 100% Filipino. I think a lot of people don't know what I am right away.
What do people normally identify you as then, if that's the case?
Latinx.
Okay.
Or
Samoan. I feel like I get a
yeah.
I'm blanking out, but
Tongan, I think is
yes, I think so.
Yeah, I get that a lot. Or they think that I'm mixed with so many things. I guess because we're Filipino, so I guess yes.
Yes,
but, yeah. But and I was born there, so I moved to New York. My family and I moved to New York when I always say 5, but I think we traveled back and forth from the time I was 3 to 5 years old, but we stayed here when I was 5 years old. So that's 1. 2, that I am actually an introvert.
Oh my God.
I'm an introvert. People really don't believe it because I think, 1, because I'm an actress, and I'm like, that is such a no. Not all actors are extroverts. I'm outgoing. I'm friendly. But if I had to choose, I would. I like to observe more. Yeah, isolated. I like to be at home more. I like to, curl up with a book. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And 3. Ooh, okay.
Fun fact. There you go. That could be a thing too.
There you go. A fun fact. I'm I'm trying to choose between 2 right now.
You can say 2. Just say both of them. It doesn't have to be 3.
Okay. Well, 1, I'm double jointed.
Double jointed?
I'm double jointed. Yeah.
I'm hyper. What's it called? Hyperextended. Like my.
Oh.
So it is.
Oh wait, can you do that thing that people do?
I not with that way, but I can go this, kind of whatever that is. I know I'm hyper. I know I'm hyperextended in some degree, like this, like that.
Yeah. Oh, whoa! Was that a crack?
That was a crack.
Oh.
Yeah. This. There you go.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm just like, how do I do it?
You do it or no?
I don't think so. Not like as you. Look
Oh
at
yeah.
that.
See, that's what it is. I think that's where I'm like hyperextended. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Hold on, wait. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
Okay, what's
my
the next one?
gosh. Oh, next one.
Can you do a backflip? I'm just kidding.
I used to do a split standing, I used to. This is
okay better.
But okay. Last one is that I am currently training for a Tough Mudder. So I think when this episode premieres, I would have already done it. So everyone make sure that I'm alive still. Make sure.
When's the event?
The 11th.
September 11th?
Yeah. September
wow.
11th.
What a date. I mean, I'm sure you know why.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, I remember that day. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
As a New Yorker, oh yeah.
How was it? You said you've been in New York for you were there.
I was young. I was definitely young. But I just remember just being very scared.
How old are you now?
Very scared. I'm timeless. No.
Okay, ageless. Ability, this is the podcast where we're gonna reveal her age. Wait, or if not, maybe you can go higher or lower. I'm 29.
Oh no. I have no problems sharing my age. I am 30. I know I don't look it. That's fine with me. She's still getting cast as a teenager, so it's fine.
Yes.
And also, just age is beautiful. Age is a blessing. Okay, aging is a
well,
blessing.
when you age well. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, facts, Mo. That's facts. Not everyone is Filipino. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah. It's funny because I mean, I've never really thought of it like anything, but I'm 29 and I feel like not to say that I look younger, but I've always known that I have like kind of softer features that make me look younger. And we're not at all like being ageist or anything, but we're just stating facts that a lot of times Filipinos, especially people with a melanin, that melanin, like black don't crack, that's real.
Period. Brown don't frown, Asian don't raisin. Period. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
So I'm
But
30.
yes, continue. Mm-hmm.
I was in 5th
30.
grade.
So you were like 10.
6th grade. Yeah.
You were like 10.
Yeah, 5th or 6th grade when it happened, and I just remember
9/11, which is what we're referring to.
It was heartbreaking.
Well, I think you were in school, right? Because I was in school and I heard the news.
Yeah. I was in school, and I just remember our teacher just dropping everything so that we could all listen to the news.
Yes.
And I remember seeing classmates getting out of the class and crying because some of their parents, worked at the World Trade Center. Yeah.
Did you? If you don't mind me asking, at that moment, did you know, or did you ever any of your friends who've gotten hurt or killed, or?
Not at that age, but eventually, in high school, I would meet people whose parents passed away because of it. But also, I've heard so many stories of people who they were supposed to go into work that day, they worked there, and then but they woke up late or something, or the trains were delayed and they just missed it.
Dang.
Yeah. Whew. Yeah. That day. And I think I got pulled out of class early.
Do you remember how your parents picking you up? Or actually I don't even remember what happened to me after that. All I remember is I was definitely a 4th grader. I was sitting towards where my table, but tables, in school. I was towards the center. I was the front center, so I was able to see the TV where I was at. All I had to do was turn my head, or no, I was facing back, so I had to turn my chair forward to face the TV. And I remember hearing the news, my teacher opening the TV and her kind of hey, look, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened after. I think blanked out. Yeah. That's all I remember.
And I remember not going to school the next day. I think we didn't have school the next day. And then
to observe what happened.
Yeah, to observe what happened. And then 2 days later, I remember we had a whole school assembly to address it.
The assemblies.
Yeah, the
Yes,
assembly is
yeah,
UN, but this
assemblies.
was like a very important
A
one.
real
Like this
one,
was
yeah.
like a yeah. But what I appreciated was, and this it's it's so interesting how like certain memories are like, oh wow, that's probably where I get it from. You
Mm,
know, I think when you experience something like that
mm,
when you're young, it's so interesting because I teach now. I teach theater now,
You're on the
and
other side now,
so
yeah.
I'm on the other side. But I remember um, during that time, I remember certain teachers would like actually take the time to drop their lesson plan and ask us, how are you feeling? To help
Oof.
us process it. And I'm just like, this is how teachers are supposed. Well, honestly, most
Yeah,
teachers that I know are,
are
but this is how it's supposed to be. Like, you're not just
uh,
supposed to like, okay, we have a test and we're this and that, you know. But
yeah.
it's all about social, emotional. They care about you holistically, and
Mm-hmm.
so I remember that time, and then I always think about the time whenever like I go in a classroom and I could feel the energy being
Wow.
like,
What's
something
happening?
happened. Something happened
How's
during
everybody
this.
doing?
Okay, what's up? Let's be real for a minute. And then I think that's another thing too. Is like just like with anything, you have to bring a level of authenticity. And I think teaching has taught me. Teaching has made me a better artist because I am able to
Wow.
bring that level of authenticity, like
Mhm.
address what is in the room and what is present. Just like with acting, you have to be present.
Yes.
And I've just become a better artist, a better person for it. So
Yeah.
I always think about like that moment when like, oh, we are collectively experiencing a tragedy.
Yeah.
How do we protect ourselves, and then how do we protect our young folks,
Yes.
and help them process it. And speaking of that, I'm like, yeah, woo, 2020, I had to tap into all of that. I had to tap into like,
Wow. What a full
whoo,
circle. What a
yeah,
full circle.
very unfortunate. Like,
The full
I wish we
right,
didn't have
yes,
to
no, oh
go
no,
through
no,
it.
actually, you're right. That's a full circle
We
we didn't
have to
want.
go through it.
It should have just been left as it was, but
Yeah, exactly. But like a lot of it, I think we're all collectively healing, and we forget like these kids are kids. They're little humans, not little humans, but just like, they're in development, and we have to, they have feelings too.
mhm.
And so it's
Yeah.
just like, how can we help them process it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, when
Yeah.
even us as adults are like, it's like so overwhelming already.
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Um, so the reason why we talked about this is because as we're filming, we are a few weeks away from celebrating, honoring, I think honoring, we're not celebrating, we're honoring the
Yeah.
20th year of when 9/11 happened. So that's why. And
Mhm.
our guest over here, our friend over here, was there in New York when that happened. So yeah.
Yeah. I can't believe it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's been 20 years. I'm just like, whoa, where did time pass?
Yeah.
Wow.
What a time to be alive
Um,
and what a time to be an artist, especially now,
yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, Also happening on that day, like, was the Tough Mudder that we were talking about. And I
Wait,
think like,
20 years ago or when?
oh no. Well, we were talking about like,
Oh,
that was
Tough
like
Mudder.
the
You
fun
were
fact.
talking.
Yeah. So
Oh
the
yes. Oh yeah.
the event,
That's yes. That's
was
also the reason why I brought that up was because
yeah.
our is it a competition or
It's not a competition, but my
it's a game?
team.
Oh,
It's
it's
like an obstacle. It's like, oh my
obstacle. Okay,
god.
okay.
That's why I'm like, when this episode premieres, please make sure that I'm alive.
Yeah. No,
Because
no
there's gonna
bug
be
bites.
like
No bug bites.
electricity. There's gonna be like, I think there's supposed to be this like pool of ice that you have to go through.
Oh no. Oh my
And I'm
god.
like, why are we doing this? Anyway.
Yes. You will be perfectly okay when this episode premieres. Yes.
Yes, I received
Yes.
that. You see, you guys speak things into
Yes,
existence. That's
receive
what
it,
I'm
take
talking
it.
about.
Yes. Okay, so we're actually gonna jump to a different topic. I know that we like see this is why I love our guest over here is because we can just like talk about anything and everything. But we're gonna jump to the next question, and it's actually really random, but quite the opposite. So my next question, icebreaker question for you is what is your current go-to comfort food?
Ah, my my go-to comfort food. Okay. I don't know if this is boring, but Chloe's is like, she's vegan, like vegan food, vegan dessert, and she has these popsicles that I love so much because it's made entirely of
Oh,
fruit. I think she does add a little sugar in it, but you could go to any grocery store. It's Chloe's. I think she had like Desserts by Chloe at one point.
Okay.
She had like a restaurant called By Chloe in New York City. I don't know if it's in California, but it's By Chloe, and it's all vegan.
I don't think so. I have not seen. I don't think so.
Oh wow. Okay. It's these vegan popsicles that I love so much because it's made entirely of fruit, and I just had a pomegranate one. And she has all these different flavors. I know it's boring. I was like, oh. It used to be Oreos now. It used to be Oreos. It used to be Oreos with peanut butter that I would just like spread on them. Okay. But I'm like, okay, girl, let's not.
Let's be healthier.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, my main goal is to like be like 100 years old. I want to be 100. I want to get to 100 years old and still
and still look the same, except with probably just white hair.
Just white hair. And I make a joke all the time that when I become a grandma, I'm gonna dye my hair all purple because I will be that grandma. I don't care. I will.
Well, but I guess actually, I'm not sure. But is it easier to have colored hair if you have white hair? That was such a.
Oh, you know what? I think so.
Is it?
Yeah. That's why they like bleach your hair first and then they like dye it. For people like with our hair, like
with a dark hair color.
Yeah,
your hair looks good, by the way. Just saying.
Thank you. I'm like, oh, look at this.
The ethnic, like especially for you, I think, like when I first saw you, you definitely like came off to me as someone that like that came off and also struck to me as like she is such a classic Filipina, like like pageant, like people that would be in the running, like
I
definitely
wish.
see that. No.
I wish. Actually, my hair is now up to my knees. I don't know. You can't tell with this. But if I show you, if I stand up right now, it's up to my knees already.
Wow.
I want to say that it is because of the pandemic, but I would be lying to you. I think I just like long hair.
Yeah, and it really suits you. It feels like it's so you. I mean, it's like long and it's like, I mean, I'm assuming it looks thick. It's like volumized. It's like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, especially for your long hair, that's actually very good.
Thank you. Yeah. The only thing is, I love playing different characters.
Oh yeah, how does that work?
Sometimes
you have to wear a wig.
An extra. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's so hard to wear a wig. That's why I was like, the only reason why I would cut my hair is so that I could wear wigs for different characters. Like right now,
or if the price is right, there you go for the role. Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, actually that reminds me, I just maybe or maybe not, but are you familiar, like did you hear about the news or the word that was going around when like Grey's Anatomy, when they had their season finale earlier this summer, where they had a Filipina, I think her character was a nurse. I'm not sure if she was a nurse, but she was definitely a COVID patient.
Oh.
They had a Filipina COVID patient as like the central character of that episode.
Oh my gosh, no. I haven't seen Grey's Anatomy in so long.
Oh, me too. I had her on the show, so.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I gotta go back. And see. What was her name?
Her name is Aina Dumlao. But actually, by the time, so let's be real. So by the time this episode comes out, it would have premiered already because her episode premieres on September, like a few episodes before you. So you'll see it. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Oh, you know what? It brings me so much joy to see more Filipino characters.
Mainstream.
Mainstream. Yes, mainstream, and it not in like. Of course, it could be better. Let's be honest. It could be better. Yeah. Let's be honest. Yeah. It could definitely still be better, but just even like 5 years ago, it wasn't like this. Even 5 years ago,
it was not. I think 5 years ago was 26. Oh no, 2016. I feel like no, it was not. No,
it's not. No. What I think the most which I love him, Dante Bosco did his thing.
Yeah.
Who else? I know a lot more like theater Filipino artists. On Broadway. Shout out to Broadway Barkada. I mean, I'm in New York, so like, honestly, I didn't think that I would be in film. I should have led with that. Yeah, no, I didn't think that I would be in film. I trained mostly in theater, and that's what I thought it would be. But directly after graduating, it was just film.
But
it was just film, commercials, TV. It was just like that. So.
Isn't that interesting how like a lot of times we think that our lives will go a certain way, but then really it's like yes and no. It's like we're actually gonna take you, like you paid your dues and that's enough. So now it's actually time to take you where you need to be.
Yeah.
Because I feel like going back to Aina Dumlao, like yes, she had the qualities of who she is now as a successful, vibrant actress, but she didn't believe in herself growing up. That's what she said. She didn't believe in herself. She had like had her and her partner Den actually. She had a calling center with her partner Den, who's the one that was aspiring to be an actor, and because of like something that had happened, she actually then fled to the US to check where their call center money was being used to produce a film. She wanted to make sure that it was going there, which is how she met her husband now, who is like you basically, you and Andy. Yeah. They're both actors, they're both producers. They became a power couple. But
wow.
But basically my point in that is, even though we never know what's going to happen in our lives, I truly believe in the idea that we know who we need to be in the now. So we can get to where we need to be in the future,
Yeah. And I love that, who we need to be in the now. I have a very similar story where like I didn't think that I would be in the entertainment business. I mean, I think a few of your guests in past episodes, I've had very similar experiences where it's like, oh no, you're going to be a doctor. What are you talking about?
That's everyone.
That's everyone. Yeah. If not a doctor, a nurse, obviously. If not that, then a lawyer or an engineer. And I feel like that's a lot of Filipino families. Yeah.
Rebellions. I feel like a lot of us who get into like the entertainment industry, not only are people who really want to do it, but it's also like a form of rebellion,
Yeah. For me,
What's your story?
I was always the only Asian girl everywhere I went.
Oh.
Even though people didn't know it. Some people do, some people, can't always tell. But when I was younger, they're like, oh, like, I was the only Asian wherever I went. So I didn't have a lot of friends. Didn't have a lot, but that I feel like because of that, I had a very strong imagination, where even when I was like a kid, I was writing stories. I was like, I had no problem being by myself. Still don't. I love being by myself.
Yes, independent.
I love being by myself, but I would make up all these stories in my head. And I used to have Barbie dolls, but I never had them because they're so cute. But it would be like, you're my actor.
Okay, producer and director at a young age. This is what you're gonna do.
The action figures, those things in like McDonald's and those Happy Meals. Hello, those would be my. Actually, it's funny because in theater school, sometimes they make you do a diagram or a diorama of like how you would stage certain things, and I was like, I did this when I was like 5. I had little action figures. Like, okay, then you go in here, then you go, So I think because of that, and also just like the love of storytelling, I just used to love, at a young age, I loved telling stories. Like I said, I am naturally shy. I'm naturally an introvert. So I was like, okay, well, I told stories as a form of expression, even if it was just me in front of a mirror telling stories. I'm going to tell that story.
Mirror on the wall. Who's the prettiest of them all? Not you. You just got long hair. I'm just kidding.
And then finally I was like brave enough to like go to a community theater play, like the community theater auditions. So then I was like, okay, let's try this. And then from there, it kind of just grew. It kind of just like, oh, I love doing this.
Actually, I want to get more into details with that. Bookmark that.
Okay, we'll book it. I wrote stuff in there already. Okay.
Can you show your notebook? Look at her. We love an educated queen. She's taking notes during the interview.
Bookmark. Community theater.
Yes,
period.
there you go. Yes.
You can't read my handwriting, but you know.
we love a studious queen over here. Okay. So actually, I'm just trying to wrap up this section because I have one more question for you, and then we can actually get into like the main meat, which is like everything. Okay.
I forget. My bad. I was like, these are just icebreakers. Fresh.
No, you're good. Y'all, the fact that she's gave so much depth in the icebreaker questions, it's only telling of how the main interview is gonna be. It's okay. Okay, so my final question for you is: if Precious Sipin were to have her own TikTok dance challenge, what would the first move look like? And you have to show us.
Okay, it's all in the collarbone. The first move would be.
wait. I have to show my collarbone. Oh yeah. I don't know where to wait here. it's funny because it's more like a shoulder.
Yeah, it's more of a. Yeah,
Wait, it's about the hands. So actually, it's not just a collarbone. It's like the way you like.
You're right.
The hands. It's like, oh, I like that. It's like this.
Sweet.
A reveal, then 1 and 2.
There, boom.
Right. Yes.
Hashtag us. Soul Supremacy X Precious.
Yes, the dance challenge. Yeah. I mean, not gonna lie, I tried to do it for what would have been out now, my 3rd year YouTube like motion editorial that I started doing every year as a tradition to celebrate my 3rd year. I ran out of time, but I really, really wanted to do everyone's challenge, like everyone else that has answered. I wanted to put it together, but it's okay, even though I missed that opportunity, I can still come up with something all together where I can actually combine everyone. Like I want to combine all of this together and put into an actual dance challenge called the Soul Supremacy.
Okay,
Soul Supremacy Dance Challenge. And you're in it now because I still haven't done it. So
exactly. I was gonna say the moment you make that, I will sign up for TikTok.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I will do it with you.
And you're gonna
they call it Stitch It or whatever. I'm gonna do it.
Yes, and because too, all y'all are gonna get choreographers credits. So
yeah,
you can put that on your IMDb. Yes. Okay, my friend. So we're gonna proceed to the main interview because you have so much wisdom, and I can't wait to hear them. So my first question for you is: who is Precious?
Oh, okay.
That question.
Who is Precious? Precious is first and foremost a believer, Precious is an actress. Precious is a filmmaker. She's a director, a producer, a teaching artist, and she is someone who constantly learns. She is a child of many communities. I put that on my website because I was like, you know what? I am a child of many communities. I am. I'm not just one, I don't stick to just one group. I believe
you don't limit yourself, to one identity.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So that is Precious Sipin.
Nice. Thank you. Okay, so we like babbled about this earlier, but I want to hear from your perspective on how we met and crossed paths.
Oh, okay. I love to. Oh, I want to get it right though. Okay, well, so I met you during Asian American Film Lab, the 72-hour shoot in June 2020. Mm-hmm. I remember.
Oh, I remember now. It was the Zoom event.
The class, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Continue.
I think. Oh my gosh. Okay.
I totally forgot about that until now. I was like, how did we meet actually? Like, what was that moment? But continue.
I thought first of all, I loved your aesthetic. Because that Zoom meeting, it was there were a few people, but it was small enough that I was like stalking everybody.
Oh yes, me too. I was like following their name. And you were one of them. I was like, hey.
So I remember typing up your name, and at that time you had this shoot where it was like, was it like a 80s vibe?
Oh, that's retro from last year. Yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I saw that you were a YouTuber, and I respect all YouTubers and people who create original content because they are hustlers. They are hustlers, period. And so right away I was like, oh, I love his vibe. I love it. I love it.
Likewise too. Likewise.
And I remember we were, I don't know what it was. At one point, I think we were all just waiting for people to like come into the Zoom room. And you're like, hold on a minute. And you like walk away, and then you come back, and you had this like huge thing of like ramen.
Oh, my food.
And you were like eating, and I was like, yeah, why am I? Let me go. Hold on.
Oh my gosh. Actually, let me tell you, there's a little story to that.
Oh.
So I was basically in like lockdown in my room because I got food poisoning, and they thought that it was COVID, and I got tested after and it wasn't. thankfully, right? So that's why when you see me grab my food, I'm like, this is the only meal I was eating. And that's why I was like a couple pounds lighter. Because I was like, it's like, don't forget to feed me. I'm here in my room.
No, I was like, okay, no, I'm gonna get my food too. And so I had like my little rice and chicken being like
I will say though that you and your husband Andy look so professional. Like you guys literally stood out to me because like I think in a lot of Zoom settings, especially with your green screen, okay, that's what I noticed. Or green screen or that screen, whatever it was. You guys were like set up for you guys were set up for success in Zoom. Like the way you guys like kind of positioned yourselves versus like everyone else. I think some people were just like holding their phone, kind of looking sloppy. You know what I mean?
Thank you. All of this, the pandemic forced me to do this. But also, I was just like, Phresh is your professional actor. You have to make room for what you want. We gotta
be. That's a great reminder. We have to be professional
and prepared too. It's just be prepared because
we gotta look decent.
Yeah, you look decent, and also because this right here, like literally immediately after this, I'm taping something. To auditions for something. So you have to have, as an actor, you have to have, your neutral background. I also have like this, like, I'm sure you've seen it. They have this color blue. Some actors have this color blue
as their background
behind them as their background. Yeah. So I have that, but I've always loved the gray because like I feel like it shows my features. Right in front of me, which you also have right behind you, I see, is I have two soft boxes.
I actually have like it's not a soft box, but I have a light like facing me this way.
So I learned how to do all of this in the pandemic.
Wow.
I'm like, well, what you saved money, thank God. You save money. These auditions will likely be virtual from now on.
And thankfully they're not that expensive. And what you did was you invested in your craft.
Yes, exactly. Oh, and I've also a little tip for those people who are watching who are just like, oh, I want to be an actor. And like,
no, they're watching. Drop that knowledge.
So, I understand. Like, I had to save money to like still like they're affordable, but I still wanted to like save my money, save my coin to actually get like good camera and screen. But what you can do also right now I don't have a white wall in my house. You could always film yourself in front of a white wall, or you go to Party City or like any 99-cent store, get you a tablecloth of the same color. You might have to get like multiple tablecloths, hang it up, and boom, you'll have the same thing.
Don't forget the thumbtacks or the tape though.
Yes. You're right. You use gum if you have to.
It's just like
use gum.
God.
Yes, exactly.
There exactly. That's why you have no excuse to be successful because like Precious and I was starting to say Princess Punzalondo. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her, but I think Precious, Andy, myself, and many people have really taken advantage of being not only being creative, but like like basically working on our craft during the pandemic, because some people, I mean, I get it. We all we all cope differently. And some people felt like it was the end of the world. And at some point it felt like that for me, but all I've known to be is to create and to express. So that's what I did exactly. And that's what we did with our short films, and I feel like a lot of people now who are successful really like cultivated themselves and worked on themselves during the pandemic last year. Like our short films, because if we didn't show up, if we had not shown up, first of all, we would not have met each other, and second, we would not have made the impact that we've made through the awards that we've received for our short films. Okay. Flex.
Like little flex,
Okay, little flex, please. Okay. So my next question for you is, and this is gonna actually take us to the next one. So, can you describe? I love to ask this question to everyone because, as you all may already know, I'm interested in people's upbringings because that directly really makes us who we are now as people. So, how would you describe a young baby, Precious, growing up? How was she like? I know you touched up on it just a little bit, but share just a little bit more.
So I'm the youngest child, and I'm the only girl in my family,
Out
or
of how
my
many?
immediate family. 3. So I'm the third.
You're the third.
I have 2 older brothers. Who there's a significant age gap actually between us.
What is it?
10 years. Yeah. Shout out to my mom, still having a baby when she was 40.
Okay, you better pop it. Well, no, I can relate to that because my age gap to my youngest out of 4, I'm the second oldest. So to the last one is 11 years. And the oldest one is 13 years.
The gap?
From my oldest to the youngest is 13 years.
Oh, okay.
For me is 11 years because I'm the second oldest to the last one. So
Yeah.
It's big.
It's big, right? So I think depending on who you ask, I feel like my upbringing, my brothers would probably say, "Oh, she's spoiled," but nope, that's not true. That's not true. Although they did what I appreciate about my brothers is like I developed such a thick skin from them, because they're the first ones to tell you ain't shit. Like
I was gonna say you do give such like I guess I would say masculine energy, but really like that tough. Like you have such a tough aura about you that's like, ooh, let me not mess with her. Yeah.
And I've been boxing too. Hello.
Okay, don't mess with her. Don't mess with her.
Meanwhile, I was like, maybe that's just all New York girls, to be honest with you. But little Precious was the youngest of 3. We moved here in our 1-bedroom apartment. And to this day, I think that's why the pandemic, of course, as heartbreaking and as grief-filled as it was, I had no issue quarantining because I'm like, listen, once you are in a 1-bedroom with 5 people and in a New York City apartment, hello, no, you're fine.
Yeah,
you are fine.
You'll live.
You live. Yeah. And so I was shy when I was younger. I was the only Asian anywhere I went, both in California and in New York, surprisingly.
Yeah, surprisingly in New York, you would think, aren't there a lot of Filipinos in New York?
There are now.
Now, okay.
Now, well, so I grew up in Jamaica, Queens, which is where I still am. I love Jamaica, Queens, forever my home. But I was the only Asian there. But then when I was in the Bay, at least in my classes and stuff, obviously, I have more cousins in the Bay, but I was still one of the few Filipinos in my class. So I know it's weird, right?
The real question is Filipinos. Where were you all at?
That's what I said. That's how I'm like. So she was shy. She was very soft spoken, and she still does finds a lot of her power through storytelling. A lot through storytelling, and
I love the power of storytelling.
Fresh
is Sipin on the power of storytelling.
It's everything.
That's one of your titles, actually. I just gotta find the other 2.
There you go. And storytelling.
Continue talking. Actually, I'm gonna go try to write that down.
Okay.
I'm gonna take notes myself. Hold on.
Listen, that's another thing too. I always have a notebook and a pen because you never know when inspiration is gonna hit. Like, go ahead and write it down. I would say I wanted to be a doctor when I was younger. Like, I was like so set on being a doctor because I think like that's what my parents wanted for me. But when you have a creative child, you have a creative child. Not to say that doctors aren't creative. It's just a different, path.
It's a different brain.
It's a different brain. Yeah, you're working two different parts, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think people could also argue that doctors are artists too,
Yes.
Like
they deal with lives. Oh,
they deal with listen, one of my best
They deal with
friends,
our lives.
Exactly. They do with us.
Yes,
They're our heroes.
Yeah.
One
real
of my best
heroes.
friends is a doctor now. We're so proud of her.
Aww.
And she just tells me everything that she has to deal with. And I'm like, yeah, I'm an artist. You can't, it's one of those things where it's just like, you got to let a fish be in the sea and a bird be in the air, So, so that was really like my upbringing. Like because like I was
gotta
like,
let a walrus be on the sand.
What do they do? Are they in the sand or in a?
I think for the most part near the water though, but I feel like
near the water.
Yeah, I feel like I've never seen them on the water. If not like dipping their tail, dipping their feet in the water, and they go back into land.
Where are walruses?
Where are the walruses? Hopefully we have that figured out at the episode. If y'all know the answer, help us out by commenting on the comment box. So send us a DM.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, interactive.
So we were like the only Asian family, with maybe like the exception of a few other Asian families in the neighborhood. So like you really learn how to just, be family being your core, especially because I was born in the Philippines, and we just up and left and like moved here. So it's like
twice.
Yeah, and I feel for like my brothers who, when we were here, they were in their teens, and I'm pretty sure that was a huge culture shock.
Yes.
Huge culture shock. But I wouldn't say my parents were strict growing up. I don't think they were strict. What I appreciate about my parents is that they let their kids have freedom, with like some guidelines, of course. They'll be like, you sure you want to do that? But it wasn't to the point where like, because they were so strict, we would rebel. I think that's like one thing that like I really appreciate about my parents is that like they let us be, they let us be. Of course, not to say that like our film expectations was on them, but there were still expectations on us as kids. There was still that pressure. Like I feel like a lot of Filipino households, like you have to like be the best at school. You have to be the best in this. And it took a lot of unlearning for me to be like, you know what? The only person I'm competing with is myself. And that's that, But I did get a little bit of that during in my upbringing. But other than that, I mean, I was a shy kid, but also a very curious kid, and
curious, precious.
Curious, precious, who loved to learn and who had a lot of imaginary friends. A lot of imaginary friends, but hey, made me the artist who I am today.
Yes, which is actually a segue. Well, a segue. We love our segues.
We love our segue.
Right? How did you get into acting?
Oh, that is a great question.
And also, at what point? Sorry. And also, at what point did you realize that this is what you wanted to pursue professionally?
Okay. So I got into acting because I was very shy, and it was actually a vocal teacher. I was shy, but we're Filipino, so if you are not a dancer,
you are
a singer, if you're not that, you a comedian. I don't know,
We're kind of always using our mouths. I'm just kidding.
The original duck face, like so Filipino. So I I sang in the choir at my church.
Yes.
That's, you know, and then from there I met a vocal teacher. And from there she was like, you know what? I think you'd really like to be in this musical. And I'm like, oh, but I have to try out and I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. When was that? I think it was in 8th grade. I want to say 8th grade. Middle school or high school, somewhere around there.
Right. Yeah.
And so I tried out for my local community theater show, which we have bookmarked right here.
Wow.
Bringing you back. Yes. So I tried out for, I think the musical was How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. I don't know if that is yeah. Have you seen that? Actually, Daniel Radcliffe was in it a couple of years ago. Not a couple of years ago. It's been a while, but yeah, he held his own. He is actually a great dancer. Yeah.
Radcliffe. I actually have never heard the musical. I've done like okay, let me know if you've heard any of them. I've done, my first one was Joseph and the Dreamcoat Technicolor, which is
of course, yeah.
And then the next year I did Pacific Island. Is that what it's called?
South Pacific?
I named it after the island Pacific.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh, that musical. Oh, that's a very interesting musical. All these musicals are like
that. It is. Then actually the year after I played I had because I've done like ensemble, you know. So I had my first kind of like, I had a character. I played a villain. So You're in Town. Have you heard of You're in Town?
You're in Town, yes.
I love You're in Town. The set and the costume, I love the songs.
Yeah.
The choreography, Aaron Fetters. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I wish I would have seen that on Broadway, like when it was like the original. I wish I would have seen that.
Like you know about it, right? Like you have like the story. You have to pay a town, or like a town has been imposed a bill where they have to pay to use the bathroom.
Yeah. It's so interesting. It always starts with a town. It always starts with a town. Like kind of like Footloose, you know, which is another one of like those like staple musicals where I feel like a lot of high schoolers always like, you know, do. It always starts with a town.
Or a city.
Right. Yeah. That's true. Where that's like, and it's usually like New York City, or like somebody like the young ingenue comes into this new city. Yeah. Yes. So true. Which is why it's so refreshing to see like that new stuff on Broadway. You know, like, don't get me wrong. I love me some Sondheim. I love me some Roger.
We gotta new, yes, yeah.
New, contemporary, and different faces too. Yes, you know, different faces, different artists.
That reflect the times now.
Yeah.
Definitely, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I really miss theater. I miss it. By the time this episode airs, I'm hoping that like Broadway will be fully open, but
is it? So it's not fully open.
Is it this week or next week that they're fully open? But I know that sometime in September. I don't know which like the exact date.
2 weeks or the last 2 weeks.
First half. That's a good question. I know September.
Okay.
I know it's September. Yeah, I know it's in September. But I really do miss theater. I miss theater so much. I think if somebody was saying like, oh, just imagine that first like curtain call, you know, once everybody's back from the pandemic and stuff. But
I was just gonna say theater. I feel like the only industry that I feel like that's not really like so applicable, I feel like in virtually, is theater. You know.
Unfortunately, yeah. So I've had a few Zoom readings.
Yes, I mean, there's that, but it's like,
it's not the same.
Yeah, I mean, even film, but there's like, you know, but it's different. But theater specifically, I feel like it's a hard thing to break into virtually.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Which is why like 2020 really challenged me. But you know, I'm one of those people that I'm like, okay, if I consider myself a creative, that means I'm creative in any circumstance. You know, in any circumstance, I'm creative. So yes, theater is kind of stopped right now, but I'm still acting. I can still create. Definitely productions stopped in 2020.
Yeah.
Minus commercials. For some reason, I got a lot of commercial bookings from in 2020. Mostly because you could do it. You could do it like right here. You know what I mean? Like it was
same
exactly
here.
like that.
Yes, I did one. I did one for TFC, and I was just in my room.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, I was just, they were just like, give us like, they were like, some of the requirements was like, give a smiling face or give like a turning face. I was like,
yeah, perfect. Boom.
Yeah. You know, yeah.
It's perfect. Like, but theater, I do miss it. That's how I started though. I went to Fordham for acting, mostly theater. I think there was, there was an elective for acting for the camera, but it was an elective, not like a requirement. So I spent majority of my time, you know, in theater. Yeah. And also, this is actually where like I started creating my own work. I had a professor who, to this day, is like probably one of my inspirations, like with stuff that I do. And he calls it artistic lineage. When you remember the things that you were taught as an artist, as a young artist, and you just carry it, you know, with you.
What's the term?
To other people.
What's the term called again? What's the term again?
Well, we call it artistic lineage. You know, when you like have this information, you pass it on to somebody else that you might be mentoring. So now it's like coming into full circle, because now I have, you know, theater students who I'm like, this is what I learned, and of course, giving credit to like the ones that came. You know, it becomes like almost like a full circle. Yeah, you know, you live, you're as the artist, you live on that way too. Which is why I you know, my teaching and my artistry is like married now.
Wow.
But I had a professor named Daniel Alexander Jones, and he is a wonderful solo performer.
What a name, Daniel Alexander Jones.
Look them up.
That like, I will after this. That looks so, I feel like that registers so well in general, especially on a screen. You know?
Well, I took his flying solo class where I wrote a solo show. I didn't know the title just yet, but it was like almost like foundational, because I think I had that class my senior year. I want to say, I think my senior year at Fordham. And so because of that, like I just kept writing and rewriting and writing and rewriting, so that when I graduated, I officially named my piece Dalaga. And
which in translation is
like a young Filipino girl, like a young lady. And it talks a lot about my experiences as a Filipino woman, or Filipino girl turning into a Filipino woman, specifically in New York City. I will say, I always say that, like, I have a lot of friends from the Bay and California who are Filipina. And I was like, I feel like our experiences are so different, because, you know, I grew up like barely.
You wrote the original Dalagang Filipina challenge. I'm sure you heard about that. The Dalagang Filipina song in the Philippines.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my god. Wait, when was that happening? When did that go?
I think this was like I want to say like late 2019 to like early 2000s. Dalagang Filipina, yeah. Dalagang Filipina, yeah. And it's just like there's like random Dalagang Filipina, you know?
Oh my gosh, I should remix that. I'm gonna remix that and make it into like redo my solo show and like have that. Oh my goodness!
Wow.
But so that actually also started my producing. Because
that makes sense.
Yeah, I did. I produced theater.
You've done a lot of producing.
Yeah. Well, also because I'm tired of people saying no to me. Like, well, okay,
bye. Then I'll just create my own stuff.
Exactly. Exactly.
Same.
So, right after I graduated from college, I met two artists named Kilusan Bautista and Leslie Espinosa. Love them. A shout out. And we created this piece for Filipinos living in New York City. And so we had it at the Nuyorican Theater. And then we eventually, it got bigger, and there were different directors for it, different performers. But that's how we at least that's how I found all these other Filipino artists living in New York City. Wow. And I'm just like, where were y'all?
Where were y'all?
Like, I was out here being like,
I'm the only one.
The only one. Yeah, exactly. But that taught me that I think that was like my producing roots, putting on the show and like producing theater and producing film. They're similar, but I think that the joy of producing theater is that you get to see the show every night and it's like slightly different each time.
Yeah.
The joy of producing film and TV is it's forever. So, we're doing this in 2021 and something that I produced in 2021, you could see it when it's like 2041.
Yeah. One is forever and the other one is visceral and fleeting.
Yeah. And it's still magical, in its own way.
The moment, yeah.
I always say, like, if you want to be an actor, do theater, train in theater first. Because you learn it's for me, it's much easier to be big and then kind of go small just a little bit.
Yes. Actually, just like you, I'm like, now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I started off in theater too, before I got into acting for the camera. Well, before I got into acting for camera, yes.
Yeah. Was it one of the musicals that you were talking about?
Yes. Yeah. Shout out to San Diego School of Creative Performing Arts for giving me. Hey. I went to a pre-conservatory art school. Like, wow. I mean, I've always known that my experiences as a middle schooler and high schooler was very special, but it really wasn't until I like became an adult and realized I'm like, this is really special.
Yeah. I wish I went to a creative.
Was like, I think in how I show up now in my craft was definitely because of my training in middle school and high school to like not only love my art, but to take it seriously and to like be able to like compete with not compete, but you know what I mean? But to be able to like have my own like grounding and compete, I guess, with like other professionals to stand on my own 2 feet.
Yeah. See, I would have loved to gone to middle school, high school that it was primarily creative. In New York City, the application process for like getting into a high school, it's very similar to college. Very similar to college. So we learned that I have so many thoughts on that because I'm like, that is so political. It's so like, what about, communities that they don't have, they aren't able to do that. Yeah, they don't have a lot of resources. So I had the choice between applying to a very good, very well-known academic school, like strictly academics, like they have like the best robotics team and in the country and all of these things, or LaGuardia High School, which I'm pretty sure you've heard of.
I've heard of LaGuardia. I've heard of LaGuardia. Oh yeah, the airport.
The famous. Yes, it is an airport.
The airport. That's where I landed.
I was like, an airport.
The first time I went to New York, I was like, my shout out to my friend Steve, who's on the 3rd episode of the series. Plugs. I was like, Steve, I'm coming from LaGuardia. How far is it from? I stayed. I think he still lives there. He lived in Astoria, Queens.
Yeah.
In love with New York. It was like Astoria, Queens. I love that place.
I want to move to Astoria. Yeah. I love Astoria. A lot of Greek food. I love their food there.
A lot of bricks, like that.
A lot of and the skyline. But it's 15 minutes away from the city. Well, anyway, so LaGuardia is also a very famous performing arts high school, and like a bunch of people, a lot of people. I think Nicki Minaj went there, and not for music either, for acting. She's actually a great actress.
Oh.
Yeah, I think she went. I'm not really sure, but I know that she went
Nikki, there. Can you come to my podcast and confirm that?
Please confirm.
So is that where you went? LaGuardia?
Well, no. So I had a choice between that or a very heavy academic school.
Oh.
And I went to the heavy academic school because I thought I was going to be a doctor. Yeah, it's part of my journey because, like I mentioned this earlier. I believe in being a well-rounded artist, but also like a well-rounded person. And I love that I can talk, medicine with my best friend. I love that. And I love that I have like friends who are into other things other than acting and filmmaking. Because I can learn from them and they could learn from me.
Yes, and also you can use those informations for your film.
Exactly. I will say I love pushing people's buttons because there are times when I make my friends who aren't actors, like I make them go in front of the camera. It is so interesting to watch.
I love it.
So interesting to watch them. Like earlier this year, my parents got a call back for Jollibee.
Actors too?
No, they're not.
But I'm sure you made them act.
They're not. Yeah. So I think the commercial was for Filipino families, and I got it through my agent, and she's like, "Do you have family members that would want to be in this?" And it's a simple storyline, blah blah blah. All they have to do is do this monologue, or not even. It was a monologue. It was a monologue, and I was like, sure. So my parents just happened to be quarantining with us at that time.
Oh.
And I was like, do you want to do this? Do you want to do
this wall over here and go after action.
And they did it and they killed it. They killed it.
Was it an online thing? Virtual?
Well, it was a self-tape. So it was pre-recorded.
Yes.
But then in their callbacks, it was live. It was a Zoom audition.
Live. It was done live. Like they shot it in person.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so we shot it the first round by ourselves, here in our apartment, which was very interesting because I was like, wow, I think we both learned from each other. Yes. My parents and I, we both learned from each other because they learned oh, wow, you know what? My daughter's career is actually hard. Being in front of the camera is not always easy.
That is. Okay, so first of all, I wanted to say that's the best way to show our parents how, yes, our career choices are valid, but also the power of self-tapes. The power of self-tapes. Because just imagine, I know you know this, oh, I gotta go to this place, I gotta go to this place audition, I gotta go to this place, or I can't make this audition because I'm doing this. But the power of self-tapes is, it's here you go.
Yeah, exactly. You could do it right now. You want to see what I do? Do it.
Opportunities.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Audition.
Yes. Oh, I'm going to bookmark that. Hold on. Because I have something else to say about that later. Okay. Self-tapes. Okay. And so they learned from me, how the flow is for as an actor. Yeah. But then what I love about filming non-actors, they're just themselves. And that's what actors need to be. They're raw and that's what you're
uninhibited. There we go.
There's no all they could be is themselves. Just be yourself and be present. And I was like, that's what I want to bring to every single one of my auditions. Just that ease of, and be yourself. Yes, under all these circumstances, of course, but having that ease and being present. It's so important to be present as an actor. But power of self-tapes, I bookmarked it. There you go. Yes. But power of self-tapes, what I love about self-tapes and just this pandemic, learning in this pandemic, is I have gotten to collaborate with people in Japan and in parts of Asia that I didn't think that I would be able to.
Wow.
Didn't think and all because of its taping, and just learning how to master that. Not to say I'm perfect, but just I'm getting better and better as an artist and
in the doing
the self-tape.
Be consistent.
Yeah, consistent. Exactly. From the pandemic, I learned all of that in 2020. All of it, and also how to keep fresh too, because acting is a muscle and auditioning is a muscle. And in 2020, yes, there were commercials and all of that, but in terms of actual shows, there weren't a lot that everything froze. So self-tapes, it helped me. What's stopping you from memorizing a monologue and just taping yourself?
From practicing, from continuing to practice, to work on your craft.
Exactly.
Yes. I have a follow-up question. So I know that you talked a little bit about producing, but for this question, well, actually, I just okay, wait, hold on. So several questions, but the first one is, what was that moment that you realized? So you were doing a lot of acting, you were doing a lot of theater, which means acting in person. At what point did you transition? What was that moment that made you realize that you were okay, you made peace with transitioning from theater, which you still love, to then acting for the camera?
That's a great question. I think when I booked my first film.
Okay, and you're like, okay, money. How much?
Or I see. I want to say my first commercial, but like even with that, it's like, you know, I love commercials now. Like I've studied commercials now. I'm like, okay, this is why people will cast certain people, and you learn how to not take things personally. But I think my love for film was probably after I booked my first thing. Yeah, mostly because I'm like, oh, there's an endurance that you have to have as a film actor. Yes. That it helps when you're a theater actor first, because you know how to stay in.
It's like energy. It's like being out and then you like reel it in, but then keep it like being able to keep it like this for
keep
long.
It in between takes.
Yes,
like stay in it between takes.
Yeah,
and
angle one, angle two, master shot.
Exactly. And also it's just like learning too. It's just like, wow, I didn't know like film could be like this. And like there's so much more. I don't want to say there's much more opportunity because it's different. I was gonna say like
it's reach. I think I know what you mean. I think there's more of a. I think I personally think that in my truth, I'm just speaking from my truth, that it feels like film has more potential for reach. That's what it is versus theater, since it is more so of such a beautiful yet special engagement. Like you have to be in person. It's also limiting. It also can be a little limiting at the same time because you have to be there in person to experience that. Not limiting. I'm sorry. It feels more exclusive. There you go. An exclusive engagement because you have to be in that moment, sharing that experience, that moment with the actors, giving their love for the theater to you, to the audience.
Yeah. And then you bounce off of the
audience. It's a special engagement there. It's more of a
Yeah. And it's also creatively, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I love theater. I love producing theater and seeing like the ways that you could do with the lights and the set and all of this. But in film, there's no bullshitting. Like you have to be on location.
Because time is money. More money is time. More money. Yeah, you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Although I will say during expectations, there was this car scene that we had to film. Ooh. I think that was one of my favorite things that we've ever produced because we had to portray a car accident. And obviously, like with our budget and like, we're not gonna let the actors actually get into a car crash. Like, no. We did everything with like this screen right here and lights and one of those like
props,
those things that you like what is it called?
What did it do?
Where you clean the car, because it was supposed to be like the characters were like it was raining and they got into the car crash. Not the windshield, like there was actually water coming out, not a hose either.
Were you like spraying something on?
Yeah, well we had
it was going like that.
We had someone like spraying it.
And then were people like
yeah, very close. Or like, well, again, our amazing DP, Andrew Sue. I will keep shouting him out.
Yes, please.
But he found a way to like angle it where like it really looked like a car. And
accident. I'm sure there's like choreography in the 3, 2, 1.
Oh yeah. Oh, there were many takes. And then I was actually behind the screen, like with different lights going like as if they were actually driving, So it's like there's like a red light here, and then there's a street light, and then there's
tell me you have a behind the scenes video of this.
Oh wait, I have a lot of pictures.
Oh, pictures. Okay, that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it was so fun, and I'm pretty sure we have like the outtakes too. Yes. Like the bloopers from it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah. I think. Okay, I think that's actually a perfect segue because now you just gracefully answered my question of like your love for theater, but then like because now you're mainly focused as a actress for camera, for film, So now my next question is, since you did just talk about like your experiences of creating expectations and producing and directing. Can you share your? Would you mind talking a little bit more about your like thought processes and experiences as a producer? No, as a director. There you go, and then producer after.
Ooh, you see, I think those are like this.
Yes, they're so, this. Like, but if you separate them, they're individuals, right? But then they function like this.
So, okay. They say that the best directors were actors first, and I 100% stand with that. I think because you understand that process of like what that person is going through to like get there. But it's also, you need to learn how to like get things out of the actor, you know, like you have to, it's not just like, okay, move from here to here, you know, hit your mark. Yes, there's a part of that, of course, but it's also like, how can you relate in a human way so that they can understand as an artist how to tap into all of those emotions, how to tap into that objective and intention in that scene. I can't even tell you when I started directing.
I
wish I could tell you, but it's just so, it kind of blurs.
Yes.
Like it's blurred.
Yeah. How would you describe yourself as a director? How are you like on set?
I am an actor's director.
Meaning?
my meaning, I care more about the actor than anything. That's like, they're my priority because I know how it is. I know how it was to be treated by like very bad directors, or to be treated poorly by directors, or directors who did not have direction for me. So I would like to think that as a director, yes, I'm nurturing you as an actor, but I'm also challenging you. I'm also giving you clear things to work on, and not criticizing. It's, you know, it's bringing things out of you that I know is in there. It's in there, but you have to realize it for yourself.
It's direction.
It's direction. It's literally in the title, direction. So I think that's, I would like to think that I'm an actor's director. And also I love making storyboards. I'm not even gonna lie. Like that's like the first thing that I do.
I didn't talk to you because storyboarding. I can't.
Well, that's a whole separate conversation. Yeah, I love it. That's like one of my favorite things to do. Love it. Love it. Now, as a producer, it's very. I think the reason why I feel like it's like this.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Actually, so I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but before you share what you're gonna say, can you actually talk about the difference between a director and a producer? That's I think that's one of my main, like, I want to ask her this.
Okay. So the director, you make the creative choice on how it's going to look like, on how the actor is going to deliver it, on, you know, the lights, the sound, everything. As the producer, you make that happen. You find a way to make it happen. So it could be like, the direction is, you know what, with this, going back to expectations, it could be, okay, I want the car accident to look like this, you know, with the lights, and like it has, not even like lights. Let's not even be that specific. I want it to look like it's coming from an actor's point of view, that car accident, that they only see two people. It's the producer's job to be like, this is how we can make it happen. We need lights to make it seem like it's a real accident. We need someone, part of our crew, putting water because it's a night scene. It's a night and rain scene. We need someone to like be putting water on these windows while it's happening. And this is more of a directorial note, but like, as a director, how do you, now you understand what the scene is? How are you gonna choreograph the actual scene? How are you
gonna design? Design. Because from what you've said, and actually thank you so much for answering that too. It feels to me that directors are really there to kind of, I mean, obviously, like, based on the script, make it come alive, but in the relationship of between a director and a producer, which I feel like kind of always tends to be like I feel like with anything, I feel like what you said, it's this. I feel like out of all roles, it almost feels like the director and the producer roles are always more like this than any other roles, right?
Yeah.
So out of that, so in that relationship between the two, it feels to me that the director is more so in control of the designing, and then the producer is the people that make it happen. So then the director can design it because
on the budget that we have.
Yes, exactly. Because if the producer's not there, then there's going to be nothing for the director to work with.
Yeah. And it's also just, I feel like with producing, it's also like financial decisions as well. Financial decisions. And for me, I said that I was an actor's director. I feel like I'm an actor's producer as well, because one of my main things for when we produce Expectations is I wanted everyone to be safe on set.
Yes,
that was a non-negotiable for me. I was like, if all we got from this movie was that people worked and didn't come out sick, I'd be happy. So I actually had to take courses, the COVID compliance. I'm a COVID compliance officer now because of it. Ooh. So like I made sure to like get that and make sure that we're following protocol, and that's part of producing. Producing in this pandemic.
Yes.
So like and also making sure like to take care of the actors. Like I know, you know, as an actor, you get treated very differently for different sets. And I've been in sets where I'm like, are we gonna get food at one point?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure this is against union rules.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I mean, no shade to it wasn't necessarily like my friend who's a director. Shout out Clark Monroe. But I told him yesterday after we shot, I was like, the next time you do something like this, please like let me be in charge of catering, because I'm like, we had them in the forest in the hot. It was like really hot this weekend when we filmed the Snatch, the short film. There weren't that much food, and they were asking for dinner. And one of the producers, I'm not gonna name him because was like, we didn't like. There was basically no. Well, he got it eventually, but it wasn't food. It was raw food to be cooked. So in the end, we ended up not doing anything with it, because I was like, you have to take care of your people. Like this is like, I feel like the industry that we're in is a people serving people industry. Because if you don't serve, if you don't take care of your people, then nothing is gonna get done. Or if it does, it's gonna be shit.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also just that's how people will remember you as.
Yes, and that's how people are gonna want to work with you and produce their best for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so that was my number one. Like when we were producing Expectations, that was my number one thing. Get our paperwork, because there's a lot of paperwork when it comes to producing. A lot of paperwork.
Actually, yes. That's a perfect segue to my next question. Under the lens of creating expectations as a producer, can you talk about how you like basically produced Expectations? Because I feel like for me personally, I feel like I've dabbled in producing, but I feel like there's so much else I don't know about it in terms of like producing a film. Please share your experiences and how you produced and put together Expectations, which will be the final question for the interview, actually.
Okay. Number one, get your team, get the right people. You know, I think that's one thing that I think is very important, is the right people on your side, and like knowing who your collaborators are that you could depend on. Because I'm pretty sure like every artist has had their like fair share of like, I thought I could depend on you, but
I'm never gonna work with this person again. That's the only way.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think number one thing was having the right people. Because of Asian American Film Lab, it was the trio. It was the three of us, me, Andy, and Andrew Sue. So already organically, we're like, okay. And we've worked on other projects together as well in the past, even, you know, before Infectious and Expectations. So getting the right people. And again, safety was my main concern. So like, I made sure to be a COVID compliance officer way in advance before shooting. So I will know the rules, you know, how we can COVID proof everything. That was my thing. And then it became, budget.
Yes. Please talk more about that, because I think that's what I think that's what a lot of people struggle with. Let's be honest. Finance.
Finance. To be honest with you, a lot of it was from our pocket. but thankfully we were able to do that,
Yes.
But in the past, I've known of grants that give you that. There are people who like crowdfund, and I'm not going to knock it, because like there are going to be people who are always going to be for your success, and they're going to want to, contribute to that success.
Yes.
So I don't mind crowdfunding, but for this, I'm just like, I've done enough crowdfunding in theater when I produce theater shows that I'm like,
you're traumatized from it?
Just a little bit.
It's okay, be honest.
Just a little bit, because it's also just like sometimes. Well, also because when I was producing a lot of theater, it was like my early 20s. So Precious was not like this. It was not like this.
And you're also asking for people's hard-earned money,
exactly,
which kind of gives them power.
Exactly. Yeah, it's also like I don't want to do that to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to do, and I love
and you don't want to do it to yourself.
Yeah. So, but there are grants out there that, like, even local grants. Like, I know that New York has one for women filmmakers. And you could just like, all you have to do is like search for it per state. So I think San Diego might be different than in New York City.
Yeah.
But grants have been a huge help for producing film and theater, to be honest with you, but specifically for producing film.
Actually, can I just like plug in something? Not plug in, but that point that you just brought up totally reminded me of like when I was applying for college 10 years ago. I took this workshop, I think, thrown by AB Samahan, which is like a Filipino organization, Philam organization. And I took this like like basically this scholarship seminar, like one of the things that they were offering. And excuse me, hold on, sorry. Like I'm trying to say, but I'm trying to like say that organically. So basically what I'm trying to say is I learned in that seminar that there's free money everywhere. Free money everywhere, and you just gotta search for it. You gotta show up, you gotta apply, and a lot of times people don't even know about the money. So the fact that you shown up, you've already like put yourself up for success.
Yeah.
Which is actually for me how I've been able to fund myself as an artist last year with the 2 grants that I got, as an artist. And I was like, I'm an artist officially because I got these grants, but you know what I mean? But I just showed up. Like I found the information online. And I was like,
yeah.
And like it doesn't kill. It like the only thing you're gonna lose by applying is the time that you spent, but everything else, everything to gain.
Yeah. You know what I do appreciate about you is you're a hustler, and I could tell because I think a couple months ago, or like the end of 2020, I had a friend who was looking for an editor. And like,
he reached out to me.
Yes. Did he reach out to you like eventually, or like for another project? Or?
Yes, I think yes. Your friend told me that they ended up going with an editor that they knew, and I was like, that's fine.
But the connection was made. But that's what I'm saying, is that you're a hustler, because like some people, they won't, they don't realize that like there are opportunities everywhere. You just have to be open to it, and you have to be willing to do the work. And with you, the reason I was like, she's a hustler, because I put that post out, and I'm thinking like, okay, my New York friend editors are gonna like hit me up and be like, hey, what's this job? You were the first one, and I was like, this. He's in San Diego right now, and he was the first one, and I was like, my New York editor friends they're slacking. This is an opportunity. This was a paid opportunity, and like,
where y'all at?
Right. So I think it's like that. Like it's the same with like grants. Like they're out there. They're out there. But also, in addition to that, though, is like this is how one of the things that I appreciate about one of my best friends, Phresh, is she's a grant writer as well.
Oh, yes.
And so having that skill, like outside of acting, outside of filmmaking, don't be afraid to learn a new skill. Like find something, because they help you with your art.
I should probably get into like grant writing.
Oh, we could, DM me later.
Oh, yes, okay, I know. I will.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
We'll definitely talk because a lot of these, when you do apply for grants, they do have very specific things that they ask for, but your application can stand out if you have experience like with grant writing before, and so again, like encouraging people like outside of acting and filmmaking, what are other skills that you could work on? What are other skills? What can you do?
Yes.
So grants for definitely are out there for films and also theater.
Yes.
There are people who are, we saved a lot, to be honest with you. We saved a lot to pay our actors and our crew and have like everything what we need to do.
May I ask what was the budget or what was your like working budget or expectations?
Less than 10,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. As a person, 10,000 is a lot of money. I'm like, give me 500, I can make something. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm just a kind of person.
True.
But
yeah, for me, like for me, because I'm an actor. That's the thing. I'm an actress producer. My people needed to get paid. Period.
Yes. And the fact that they got paid, though. I mean, that's like, thank you, for being that kind of producer.
Yeah, because I'm asking.
Thank you for being a producer. Thank you for being a producer, not a special kind of producer. A producer who does their job.
Hello. And that comes from because okay, as an actor, Precious, would you want to go into a set that it was a very heavy script for one, and two, it's the pandemic. You're not going to get paid for that? Oh, absolutely not. So that was like my main thing. I was like, a good amount of our budget was to pay cast.
Nice.
Cast. And obviously, like, depending on the role, it would be like a different rate and all of that.
Some get paid
but
more
like,
yeah.
So like, a lot of, I think, was budgeting. And of course, like working with the rest of your team to, okay, hey, this scene requires a car. Yes. This scene requires a bar, So from there, that's when we had to like location scout. That's where we had to like, okay, we need that. So let's put that in the budget, like an estimate of like how much we're willing to spend.
What were your working? I'm now genuinely, and not that I wasn't, but now I'm genuinely curious. If you can like maybe give it to like share it in like the form of like percentages in terms of like this is 100% of the budget. Can you do like a brief breakdown of like what your budget looked like? 10% on this, 20% on that. Like,
okay.
Do you kind of recall?
I was like, I got some spreadsheets though.
We don't got the time for that. That's why I'm just kidding. This is why we have you here to give us the brief version. I'm just kidding.
I want to say, and also because like we are like multi-hyphenate artists, multidisciplinary artists. So like a lot of the stuff that we had, we like everything we had we used for the film, but in terms of like percentages, I want to say like a good portion, 50 I think was for the artists, like strictly 30.
Are you talking about actors or crew? What do you mean by artists? Like actors?
Actors and crew.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I think I guess 30% were for like props that we needed. Maybe a little bit more than that. Yeah, give or take. These are just like estimates.
Yeah, yes, for sure. Yeah.
And then the rest were like for, we went under budget actually. Like we had some left over. We had money left over because
oh really?
Yeah. And so now that's actually the money that we're using to like submit to film festivals.
Yes. Follow-up question. I'm assuming, of course, or maybe let me know if that wasn't the case, but did that include your budget? Did that include your pay as you and Andy for creating?
Oh, no.
Probably not, huh? No.
That was not my pay. Yeah. No, I knew that I wasn't going to get like and then that's the thing that like, if we had maybe more time and a bigger budget, it's like, oh, this is mine. But no, because I think the payoff will be coming very soon.
Though. No, for sure. Because sometimes I feel like, and I think that's, I think I want to point this out for those that are tuning in who are like really aspiring and emerging, filmmakers, actors. It's like sometimes it's actually more beneficial to do free work, which is what I did for the 48-hour film festival. Because in the back of my mind, I was like, yeah, I'm a filmmaker. But then I knew deep down that I was like, I need more experience, you know? So I like reached out to my friend who I know, Clark Monroe again, who's like, who jumped into the water. He's just like creating stuff as he's learning. He's actually only been in the industry for like a year, which is what he always likes to say. I'm like, I know, we get it. You've said that 10 times. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
I was just like, what can I do to help you? Because I knew because in the back of my mind, I'm like, I want to learn.
Yeah. And then I think that's the thing too, is that I think it depends on the role and the stage that you're in your life.
Yes.
Because as an actor right now, no, if I don't get paid, I'm not going.
Yes.
That's my thing. But as a producer, I'm like, okay, I want to work with different people, and that's what I'm getting paid.
There's still gaps that can be filled.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's more like a barter. It's an exchange. You know.
Yes.
Is that
the power of bartering?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I had a friend recently. No. Actually, well, this has nothing to do with like filmmaking and stuff like that. But I have a friend who is a personal trainer, and she's building her business right now.
Okay, what was the barter?
And, so the barter is like, and I've been trying to train for Tough Mudder as we started off this interview, and so she in exchange for her training me, I'm one of her clients that she can boost when like her business is like up and running.
Like you as like a public figure.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that, but as a client, okay, yes.
Well, I mean, like leverage. Like I've trained with Precious Sipin, well known for Infectious, and sorry, what's the other film? Breakthrough. Expectations. I was ready to say Breakthrough. Another one puncher line word. Breakthrough. Write that down. I'm just kidding.
I was like, bookmark that
breakthrough. Okay. Okay, then what else is the process for? Like, I mean, I think a lot of times we already know like production, pre-production, but what else would you like to share about producing a film from your experience after budgeting?
Budgeting. I mean, a lot of producing is budgeting, to be honest with you.
Probably mainly budgeting, right?
Yeah. Budgeting, but there's a lot of paperwork as well, because it also depends if the artist is part of a union. And the crew
release forms,
locations. We were very, we were really like on our paperwork because like we're filming in different places.
Yes.
So like,
did you guys have to pay?
Okay? We didn't, but as a gift, I think I gave. I gave a portion for it.
Okay.
Yeah, for like the location.
Yes. How much I've heard things, but I want to hear from you. I would like to hear from you. How much do locations usually cost? Maybe for short films. Let's do it on that spectrum, like short films, like what we do. How much are we looking at?
It depends on like your relationship with the person, like the owner.
What if you don't have a relationship with the owner and you're starting?
If you don't have a relationship, like we went in there being like, in our cute little outfits. In our cute outfits, I did most of the talking. In our cute little outfits, and you're like, hi, it's so nice to meet you. We're indie filmmakers from the area, and we really love your location. Would it be okay if we spent X amount of days filming at your spot? We really love how the vibe of the place and how it looks, and we wouldn't be, stopping the flow of customers. We would be just in this area right here. Would we be able to film on XYZ day? Majority of the time they will say yes. and actually it was I think for them, this bar that we chose, we're like, with any, like, we'll keep you updated on any festivals, and please let us know your social media so we can, we could boost it. Yeah, we could boost the location. I think we were talking about how, like, if we eventually want to have like a physical premiere of it, show it, like we may have it at that bar, but maybe not. It was such a small bar that I don't think that they could hold a premiere. But yeah, it's like and then we also like, there were only really 3 people for that scene, and we just made sure that like we supported them, we supported their business, we bought stuff, left a tip, and also like, again, we gave like a monetary, like we gave a monetary gift, like as a thank you. They weren't expecting it. They were not expecting it. Can I
ask how much was it, or like an estimate, like a?
If for like, I think we spent less than an hour there. We gave them like 100. So
that's enough information. Okay.
Yeah. Because we were there for less than an hour, but it felt, it didn't feel right to me to like just use their space and then bye.
You don't want to be that person. And besides, what if like, not what if, but when a bigger project comes and you need that place again, you know?
Right, exactly. So with all of the locations, even one of the locations we used my friend's studio apartment, a beautiful studio apartment in Brooklyn. Even with her, I was like, you know what? I'm kicking you out of your apartment. You need to get compensated for that. So
we get a hotel there.
Yeah. And that was a whole day shoot. So obviously it was a little bit more. But like I honestly I believe in artists getting paid in some way, like either monetary or like or like a financial compensation or like a barter. Like I need to get something out of it too.
Oh,
I don't.
Then that's one thing. That's always been me. Like at this point in my career, I'm like getting there. So I think I've been taking pride in like bartering because I'm like, my friend, he's helped me out. So now I'm helping him out,
Exactly. Because we all have different skills and that's worth something. Yes. We all have these different skills. And also one thing that you will learn about me is I don't believe in being a starving artist. I really do not believe it. No. Who's that? What's that? We don't know her. Who's she?
No, but in the most literal sense, you can't be an artist if you're starving. Like
literally.
You can do your work.
You can't do your work. And there's food on set if it's a good set. So
let's not glorify that. Starving artist.
No, maybe, I don't believe in that.
The sense of like the love for the thing, but no, that's it. No. You know what I mean?
That's it. And it's also, and what I mean by that also is, yes, absolutely dedicate yourself to the craft, but also be open to different streams of income. Like that is honestly what I have learned in 2020. And then now it's like, there is so much abundance out there. We just have to look for it and be open to it. We really do. Like, I've like editing, for example. I learned how to edit in the pandemic. It's another skill that's outside of my comfort zone.
Yes, and it pays well. It pays well.
I didn't know that. And now she's getting paid to like edit films or like short videos. No, I'm not ready for films yet.
Yeah.
Like she's getting, like that's a stream of income. And then also like with artists, like you have a lot. And what I love to tell actors is that you're more than just an actor. You really are. Somewhere in there, you're a teacher and you could help someone with their self-tape and you could get paid doing that.
Yes.
you know?
While making an impact.
And while making an impact. Exactly. While making an impact. And then I've learned a lot about one of the people that I like love to learn about and to like her business structure is Rihanna. If you really look at it, a lot of artists, Riri, like all these billionaires, these artist billionaires, Jay-Z, Rihanna, yes, they're billionaires. They've made money from their talent and their business and stuff, but a lot of it has been investments. So I've like been learning more about that and like been open to that. And like, that's not like a lot of
businesses,
multiple streams of income.
No, me too. I agree. I actually currently do Uber Eats, and I never thought I'd ever find a job that would like literally allow me to like earn so much money while like having full agency to my freedom.
Yes. And that's what it is, right? Yes. That's what financial freedom is. You are free to do like to create your own schedule.
Yes. And also have the time to work. Like the fact, I mean, yes, I'm gonna have to like work like a couple of days now to like make up for not working this weekend, but I didn't need to like report to a boss and be like, oh, can I please get a couple of days off?
Yeah.
Please. Which is what my director had to do actually. But he's resigning from his job, and I had to tell him, I'm like, I'm not trying to tell you how to run your life, but I think a lot of times being freelance is the way to go for artists.
Yeah, absolutely. And
enough.
Yeah. Even if it is like, okay, your 9 to 5 is just for 3 months.
Or you can do part-time.
That's it. Or do part-time, that's it. But I definitely agree with you. Like this freelance life is hard, but it will bring the hustler out of you.
You know?
It'll bring the on, but it'll show you what you're made of because it's so hard. It'll show you what you're made of. It'll take the hustler out, like it'll bring it out and be like, oh wow, actually, I was thinking of success this way when success is like whoop, 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 whoop.
It's literally like, I feel like the best way to describe it is like literally juggling, like trying to keep it going without dropping. Like I feel like the more successful a person is, the more balls are juggling.
More money, more problems too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Precious.
Oh my gosh.
My last, before we do the closing question, I just wanted to say that thank you so much for not only your time, but also the abundance in the stories and the depth of your journey of everything that you've shared, my friend. And this is also our first time talking too, so y'all are getting to experience that. Before I ask you my closing question, I want you to invite people to watch expectations, right? I keep saying breakthrough. Expectations. I'm sorry. Because I almost said infectious too. Actually, infectious too, but expectations. Like, where can we see it? Where can we see it? Please invite people.
That's a great question. Right now, it is Expectations, written and directed by Andy Jean Gillis. DP is Andrew Siu and produced by myself and the two other gentlemen that I just said. It's going through film festivals right now. Nice. So hopefully by the time this episode premieres, we'll have more news for you. So just follow me at the Precious Sipin. You could go precioussipin.com, or my Instagram handle is the Precious Sipin. And I'm pretty sure I will have more news there, either on the website or on Instagram.
Nice.
So follow us, check us out. Hopefully we'll have like an actual physical premiere. If you're in New York City. Yes. Contact me. Hit me up in New York City.
Let me get the next flight to New York City right now, please.
Or let me go to San Diego and just
right. Or you can do one here. Oh wait.
Hello.
I'll text you after. Okay. So I guess since you already did your social media plugs, which is literally the same thing, right? Unless if there's anything else that you missed, we can do that after. But I want to ask you this closing and loving question. So, drum rolls. What is the legacy that Precious Sipin, what is the legacy that you would like to leave behind?
Oh gosh, that question. I love it. So what is the legacy that I want to leave behind? I want to live a life based on your faith and not your fear. Everything that, is that you're going through right now, it's either a product of your faith or a product of your fear. So constantly challenge yourself to rethink certain thoughts that you might have. That inner monologue, not just the words that you say out loud. It's great. Words of affirmation are great every single morning. But what's that inner monologue that you're having with yourself? And is that out of faith or is that out of fear? And hopefully you can say, on your last time, your last breath in this earth, that if you lived a life of faith and that your actions showed it.
Yes.
So faith over fear.
Oh, okay. She said it. Drops mic. Yeah. Precious, thank you so much. We did it.
So much. Yeah, no, we did it. Oh my gosh, I want to go to San Diego now.
Yes. Well, please, when you go to San Diego, at least you know who to hit up and be like, let's hang out. I'll take you. I'll show you around. Also, too, not a little side note, but doing Uber Eats, I know where everything is.
Yep.
The good places to eat. Be like, we're gonna go here. We're gonna go here. Yes.
Hello. You know what? I'm gonna go to San Diego, and then the both of us are gonna go to LA. How about that?
Yeah, there you go too. Hollywood
premieres. Hello.
Yes, I actually know where that secret spot. It's not secret, but it's like a park, like a physical park in Hollywood, where you get like the best view of the Hollywood sign. I think it's called the Hollywood Park Lake. I think it's a lake. It's not Hollywood Park. It's Hollywood Park Lake.
Oh, okay.
Google that. You'll see it's just like a big patch of land of grass, and then it's like the mountain next to it, and you see the Hollywood sign really close.
Nice. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So yeah, everyone who's watching right now, we're gonna go to LA.
We're eventually gonna meet up. Yes.
We're eventually gonna meet up and probably at our premieres because I believe
our own separate
speak
films.
It out. Exactly.
Yes, put it out there. Y'all,
put it out there.
This is Soul Supremacy. We made it, y'all. This is Soul Supremacy, where we talked about all things unapologetic, all things passionate in pursuit of. And once again, we have the vibrant, the very beautiful, and the very, very awesome, precious Sipin for this episode. Thank you again, kapatid. And we will see you next Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you. This podcast show is a product of Studio Penguino. For more information about advertising, please visit www.edrianpenguino.com.